Hi everyone, how are you? In today's video, we're going to talk about the new surprising model called Flux. Now this model is brand new and it was created by the old team who just left Stability AI, and this model is something else, and it's the first step for a whole new world that we are going to witness coming up in the following weeks. I remind you that this is just the first version and it's a development version, and already this model astounds the community. People are generating unbelievable results with it. It competes with DALL-E, it competes with MidJourney, and let's not waste any more words. Let's just start working with it and see how you can use it right now for free on your local ComfyUI. Let's go. As always, we'll open up ComfyUI. This time we're not going to start with the default, but we're going to start with a clear one, and we're going to construct the workflow where you can use custom models, or in other words, units. And this is rather simple. Let's go step by step and I'll explain each node and what it does. It seems much more complex than it really is. Instead of using the regular case sampler like in the regular or default workflow, we're going to use a custom sampler, and we can find it by saying sampler custom, and we're going to use the advanced one because we need the ability to control every aspect of the sample. If for some reason you're not seeing any of the nodes here, you should go to the manager and click on update all. This will make sure that all your nodes are up to date and that your framework or the ComfyUI itself is also up to date. Once you click it, you will need to restart ComfyUI later on. If you're noticing this badge here and you're wondering what it is, if you go to the manager, you'll see here that you have a badge and you can do a nickname or IDs and things like that. What it tells you, it basically tells you to which custom node or which interface this node relates to, and the fox icon is basically means that this node is part of ComfyUI itself. So we're going to create the sampler custom advanced that will allow us to construct our own workflow using other nodes. And it is pretty much straightforward. You can see the parameters that it needs. Latent image works pretty much the same. So we're going to drag here and add our node, which means an empty latent image. Flux works just the same on 1024 by 1024. The first part is creating an empty latent image upon which the sampler will generate the image. As for the noise basically is the random generator that generates the initial noise of the image. So we're going to drag it from here and we're going to add this random noise node. What we select here, if you remember how the case sampler works, I'm going to open it just so you'll see it. In the case sampler, you see that we have a seed and we have the control after generate where it says randomize. It goes the same here. We have the noise seed and we have the control after generate, which basically means what happens the next time we click on the Q prompt. And if it's randomized, it means that it will generate a new seed every time we click the Q prompt. We will see it in action later on. The next thing we're going to hook up, let's just move this here and move this here so it will be a bit more tidy. The next thing we're going to plug in is the sampler itself, and it's going to be right through here, and here we're going to take the K sampler select, which allows us to select the sampler itself. Once again, just like the K sampler, you can see the resemblance here. Just like the case sampler, we can choose the name of the sampler, and Flux so far works the best with Euler. So we're going to leave it on the default value of Euler, but just like in the case sampler, you can see that you have the same list of values. We're going to leave it on Euler and keep on going. The sigmas basically means the scheduler. The scheduler decides which kind of function we're going to use in order to generate the image, and this is why it's called here sigmas. Once again, just like in the case sampler, you can see that we have the scheduler itself, and we're going to move it to simple because it's the best scheduler to use with the Flux model. And this is the number of steps, meaning how many steps we're going to use to generate the image, and the denoising amount, reminding you that 1 means 100% denoising, means that everything will be starting from scratch with 100% noise at first. So this is about it when it comes to the sampler itself. And now we have something called a guider. A guider is basically what guides the image generation. And just like here that we have a model and a positive and a negative prompt, this is what we will hook up into the guider node. So let's make it a bit more tidy. Let's move everything here closer, and we will be able to add our guiding nodes. So we will just drag it from here, and here you see you'll have the basic guider. The basic guider is constructed out of two things: the model itself and the conditioning. The conditioning basically is constructed out of two things. The first one is the clip text encode, and the second one is the clip itself. The clip itself, unlike the default workflow, is not embedded in the model. Rather, we will have to load it separately. In Flux, we use two different clip models. I'm reminding you that eventually what the clip does, it converts the text itself to an actual mathematical language that the model can understand and can use as a guide to generate the final image. So if I'm writing here the word red, the clip knows to take this red and convert it to a language that the sampler can understand and generate the red pixels in return. Now the clip is supposed to get a clip model. As I said, unlike the usual workflow that the clip model is already embedded inside the model, here we will have to use a dual clip because we have two clips that we need to load. So we'll just click search and type dual clip loader because Flux uses dual clips. On the first one, we will choose the FP8 or FP16 based on the model that we are going to use. If we are using a floating point 16 model, we will choose the FP16 T5XXL clip. And if we're using the floating point 8, we will choose the floating point 8. And as for the second clip, we're going to use clip L. If you don't have any of these models, I will add a link in the description, but it's rather simple. You're going to download them from this link, and here you have the T5XXL FP16, the T5XXL FP8, and the clip L models. Once you download these files, you're going to the ComfyUI folder, and in there, into the models, and from the models, you can go into the folder called clip. Now here you can see in my structure that all the folders are links. The reason is that I put my ComfyUI on a hard drive, on a regular hard drive, but all the models are located on an SSD drive. Now the reason for this is that the SSD works 10 times faster than the regular hard drive, and this makes the models load much faster. Just for a comparison, the time it takes for me to load the Flux model is around 4 or 5 minutes just to load the model itself. And using the SSD, it takes around 40 seconds, and I'm talking about the 23 giga model. So here we're going to put all those files inside the clip models. So you can see here that we have the clip L, we have the XXL FP8 and the XXL FP16. Now another thing that the basic guider is looking for is the model itself, where we'll drag the model node, and here we will use the UNet loader. And in the UNet loader, we're going to choose the Flux FP16 or FP8 based on what we have downloaded. Now, do note that the Flux has two models that are the original ones. You have Flux Dev and you have Flux Schnell. Basically, they use the same workflow, only that Schnell is kind of a turbo version of the model. I, for one, really like the results of the Dev itself. The Flux Dev is the 16 float, is the FP16, and there is also rather new, just a few days ago, a cool user called Kijai released a smaller version of the Flux model, which is basically half the size. It's only 12 gigabytes. It uses floating point 8. The results are very similar. So looking at this image, you can see the difference. The right image was run with the original version of the Flux Dev, which is 23 gigabytes, and it uses a floating point 16. And on the left, you can see the version of the floating point 8. If you take a good look, there's hardly a difference in the quality. The image itself looks unbelievable in both cases. There is a very, very, very minor and slight difference in quality when it comes to the fine details, but it's hardly noticeable. And it's very important to note that 23 gigabytes really requires a very good GPU, and even then it will be very slow and very demanding when it comes to the use of the resources on your computer. So I'm, for one, using the floating point 8. At first I worked with a floating point 16. It gave me great results, but it consumed a lot of time. And when I was running it, my computer, I couldn't do anything else on the computer. Now that I use the floating point 8, the results are unbelievable, and I can continue working with the computer and record the video and things like that. So here you can either choose the floating point 8. I use it quite often and it gives great results. Or you can use the original model. Once again, the link will be in the description and you can find it here. You can also read about the model and see some examples for it. We'll go to the files and versions, and here you'll have the Flux One Dev. And also, if you go to the Black Forest Labs, you will see here that you have the Schnell. Once again, the Schnell works exactly in the same workflow, only you need much less steps to generate the image. One thing you do need to notice is here on the type of the DOI clip, we're going to choose the Flux. You will only have it if you update ComfyUI to the recent versions, so make sure you do it. And here we have everything plugged in. We will just go to the output, which works exactly the same like the latent output of the K-sampler. And we will use here a decoder, and it is basically the regular decoder. And here on the VIE, we need to load a VIE. Now the VIE also needs to be downloaded, and you can also find it here on the Black Forest Labs model files. Here on the files and versions, you will have the VIE. This is the file you need to download, and you're going to put it into the ComfyUI models VIE folder. Now I renamed the name of the model to Flux because I don't like the name Diffusion PyTorch model. And here, in order to load the VIE, we will just drag it out and we have the VIE loader, and we will just choose the Flux VIE. Here from the image, we'll go with the preview image, and all left to do is to simply run, give it some text, a beautiful photo portrait of a little cute frog. Let's see how it goes and give it a go. Oops, I forgot to connect the model to the basic scheduler, so we'll just drag this one and let's give it a go. Do note that it takes some time to load the model. The initial load takes some time. It will recognize, if it will recognize that you have a low VRAM setup, it will automatically regenerate the workflow with a low VRAM, and it will take care of everything. It will take some more time because it means that it loads the clips or things like that into the CPU instead of the GPU. So let it run, and we'll be back once it is done. And it took a while for it to run. It's not as fast as the Stable Diffusion XL models or the other Stable Diffusion models, but without any doubt, the quality of the created image is unbelievable. Look at the details on the skin, look at the details on the iris of the eye, look at the reflections on the blurs, and this was a very simple prompt. Imagine what you can do with a more detailed prompt. Now, one of the strengths of this model is that you don't have to use tags in order to generate high quality images. You can use simple English. It's very coherent. The usage of these clips allows a much better understanding of the text, and the results are to show for. Another great thing here, and soon I will show you some examples, is the ability to render text and the fact that it renders faces and fingers. You heard me correctly, no more crooked fingers or crooked faces. So this is basically the model. This is the most basic workflow. Now, if you want to do an image to image, actually it works pretty much the same like the other models. Instead of using an empty latent image, we can simply load an image. And if we load this image, we can simply do a VAE encode, and then you have the latent and you have the VAE. For the VAE, we're going to use the Flux VAE, and for the latent, we're going to use this encoded file. Now, what we want to do when we use image to image is basically make the denoiser not 100%, because then it means that it replaces all the pixels of the image. So one thing that I forgot to do is to change the prompt to better suit the source image. So we're going to do a portrait photo of a beautiful woman, and let's run it again, and let's make the denoise a bit lower. Let's start with 75% and give it a run. So after a while, I can tell you that it took around 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes for it to run, but you can see that the results are very nice. It's easy to see that it maintained the main concept of the image. It maintained the overall color scheme and the visual and the photographic concept, and you can see that it gave very nice results. Now, you might notice here that maybe the skin looks too photoshopped. Skin look very retouched. So there are two ways to tackle it. I'm not going to do it, but the overall concept. One thing is that you can chain it to another case sampler with another model and generate a second pass to add details to the image, or you can simply write down the details in the image itself. And I'm going to show you some images now where you will see that the results are much better. So now that you've seen Flux in action and you can work it out and you can work with it on your local computer, of course, that the main question remains, is it better than MidJourney? And I think that the results will surprise you. So I created several dozens of images using Flux, and I've compared the exact same prompt without changing anything with the MidJourney. So let's go over quickly on the images and compare Flux versus MidJourney. For this, I deactivated the camera because I want you to look the entire image. And what I have done here is, here on the left, you can see the main keywords that I've used on the prompt. This is not the entire prompt. I only copied and put here the main keywords or the main terms that I used for the prompt. And this is just for you to be able to see if the generated image followed the prompt correctly. So this is the first one. We have a close-up of a weathered old man with blue eyes, wrinkles and age spots, silver white hair, neatly trimmed beard, soft and warm light earthly tones, brown and beige, gazing directed just off camera, wisdom, resilience, and quiet dignity of age. And you can see that both images are quite spectacular. No doubt on the right you can immediately see the look and feel of MidJourney's generations. It's a very artistic, and the details of the skin are unbelievable. But on the left, you also have a very high quality image. The look on the person's face is quite amazing. Once again, it might miss some details on the skin. It looks a bit more clear, but it can easily be fixed with a second pass. So here, I actually gave the points for both models. I think they both did an amazing job and followed the prompt pretty good. The next image is of an elderly man kneeling in silent prayer with his hands clasped tightly. I'm not going to go over the entire words, but you can see that it looks very nice. And here I gave the point to Flux, and the reason is not that MidJourney did a bad job. If you look at the texture of the closing and the overall quality of generated image is quite amazing, but I want you to look here on the fingers on this hand. MidJourney missed a finger here, and there is an extra tip of a finger here. but if you look on the fingers here, it looks much more correct. The beads here are a bit torn up, but what's missing here in the MidJourney side is that cross on the wall, and you can see that I've asked specifically in the prompt to have a cross laid on the wall, and you can see it actually here on the rough stones wall with wooden cross, and MidJourney completely disregarded it. So the point goes to Flux for being a much more correct when it comes to the prompt. The next image is an image of a sleeping baby, and the concept here is of a baby that is curled up in this fetal position with a cream color fluffy blanket. Here you can see that MidJourney added some kind of a lace clothing that is not really a part of the prompt, but I gave the point here also to Flux. Now you might say that I'm biased towards Flux, but this is not correct, because one of the most important things I think when it comes to generating image is how well the model follows your prompt. And here the model literally generated every single thing that I asked for it to generate. And both images are very good. Both images are very realistic. The eyelashes here, it seems like MidJourney went with a more female concept, and that Flux went with a more male concept. Nevertheless, both images are quite amazing, but Flux once again nailed it when it comes to the specific prompt that I asked for. As for the next image, I asked for an astronaut, and once again here Flux got the point, and the reason is because it once again nailed it when it comes to the prompt. MidJourney's image is unbelievable, it's beautiful, although if you really ask me, the haze here looks like a bad composition and the stars look fake, and here it seems much more natural, and you can also see here the ray of the sun, although here you have some kind of a lens flare effect, which I really like. So MidJourney did an excellent job, but here I asked to have a spacecraft partially in the frame, and you can see that MidJourney disregarded it, and this is why Flux once again got this point. The next image is of a lone cowboy, and the entire concept here to have some kind of a silhouette of a cowboy, and here I think that they both did a good job, but the cowboy of Flux seems more like CGI than an actual cowboy, and the point here goes without a doubt to MidJourney. Look at the details, the play of the contrast as asked in the prompt is very nice. Not to say that Flux did a bad job, but it's more, once again, looks less realistic and less natural than what MidJourney did here. Once again, I want you to take a closer look on the hands and on the face. One of Flux's strongest concepts is its ability to generate genuine face, and you no longer have twisted eyes or bad feet or a person with 8 fingers and things like that. It does miss here and there, but if you'll generate once again, it will give you an amazing results. One thing that I want to say is you also need to consider that MidJourney generates 4 images in one go, and I chose the best image. On Flux, I basically took the first image that it generated because it takes some time to generate a lot of images, with the exception of once or twice, but once again, here the point goes to MidJourney. And the next image is one of the most classic images and the moments, and I asked here for an infant hand laid on an older person hands. Both models did an amazing job, and here also I gave the point to MidJourney just for the reason of the texturing of the hand. I asked for an old hand, and you can really see the textures here are quite remarkable. The fingernails of the baby give more sense of very soft fingernails rather than here that it gives a feel of a bit more older person's fingers. And I really like this image. It looks very nice. I'm not going to go over the entire prompts because basically you can pause the video and read it for yourself, but you get the idea. The next image was of a group of people, 4 people actually, that are friends, and they are looking and taking a selfie while smiling in time of an apocalypse. So here the point goes without a doubt to Flux. Although the concept, the composition of this image, of MidJourney's image, looks very nice. I really like the colors, the desaturation of the image and the composition with the fire. But look at the people's faces. They look twisted. It looks like they are melting from an atomic bomb or something like that. And here it simply nailed it with juxtaposes smiles where their faces are close to one another. And look at the hand that's holding the phone. It's simply amazing how it did the bones on the fingers, and all the faces are flawless. I really like what Flux did here, and without a doubt the point goes to Flux. The next image is of a group of people of a busy square with a bird's eye view, and here I gave the point to both models because each created a very nice image for their own. I really like the look and feel of the MidJourney one with the textures of the pavement and the fountain with all the people, but I really like what Flux did here when it comes to the booths or the busy cafe terraces here. And you can see that all the people are not twisted. They genuinely look like people. It's very easy to recognize each person here have 2 hands, 2 legs. And if you look at the model of MidJourney, there are a lot of blobs here that are not really people. Maybe in first glance they look like people, but if you take some attention to the creation, these don't really look like people. And here it actually looks like people. So this is why it got the point. And MidJourney got the point because it simply created a very nice composition. And from humans images, we are going to some sci-fi or creature fantasy creatures. And the first one is a bioluminescent alien being. And here I gave the point to MidJourney and to Flux. They both did a great job, but once again, I think that Flux nailed it when it comes to the hover standing over anti-gravity. So it literally contained the anti-gravity device here, which is very nice. It really nailed it when it comes to the almond-shaped eyes, and MidJourney didn't really create any eyes here, and it didn't create any concept of over anti-gravity over an anti-gravity device or something like that, but without a doubt MidJourney generated a very nice concept of an alien. Next image is a dreamlike underwater mermaids group, and here for some reason MidJourney didn't really create a group. Both images did very nice jobs, so once again I gave the point to both of them. Each created a very nice concept. I really like the concept of lights he did on the mermaid's tails here, and the characters themselves looks very convincing, very nice. Both did a kind of a CGI concept, but I really like the textures of the reef itself when it comes to the MidJourney's generation. Next creature is kind of a horrifying creature in the sewers, and here I gave the point to MidJourney without a doubt, although Flux did a very good job. And if you look at the ripples of the water and the reflection, based on the prompt, I asked for the reflection to be distorted by the ripples of the water, but MidJourney here generated truly horrifying image, and it literally looks genuine. It almost looks like a real unsolved mystery image. So points to MidJourney. The next one is forest nymph, and the idea here was to create a nymph that emerges from the tree, and it is part of the tree. And although both images are nice, once again Flux gives a bit of a CGI look and feel, but you can fix it with some prompting engineering and with some additional passes, but this is not what we're testing here. So without a doubt, MidJourney gets the point here. The image it's generated is flawless. It's absolutely amazing. Look at the details on the hair with all the twigs connected to the veins of the nymph. I really like this image. The next image is the Jacob's ladder scene, and I asked the AI, I asked the model to generate the whole concept of Jacob sleeping on a stone pillow and to create the angels climbing up the golden stairs. I know it's a ladder, but I asked for stairs, which is fine. And the point here goes to Flux for several reasons. First of all, the details on the clouds are unbelievable, and here the clouds are mixed with the angels. Once again, MidJourney kind of missed it here when it comes to the faces of the characters. Look here on the face of Jacob, you can actually see the facial features, and here it looks very twisted. Here you can literally see the figures, the full figures of the angels, and here also MidJourney kind of missed it. So all in all, if you look at the prompt, Flux nailed it point to point, and I really like this fact that it can generate unbelievable images. Once again, I asked for the Garden of Eden, and I asked for an oversized ripe apples, Adam and Eve, and some animals. I really love the fact that I asked for a strategically covered person, and it created some kind of pants for Adam, which is really nice. But looking at the image, if I have to choose, once again, the point here without a doubt goes to Flux. Look at the quality of the generations. Every pixel is in its place. Unlike many of the text-to-image models, the generation here, even if you're taking a closer look, the leaves are literal leaves. The apples are really looking like apples. Look at the animals with all their limbs. You can look at the animal, look at this line with the hairs. It's amazing. Unlike MidJourney, if you look at the animals, at first glance they look like animals, but they're not really an actual animal. They're just a blob of pixels generating the shape of an animal. So hands down, point to Flux. I know you're surprised, and you might even be pissed because MidJourney is probably going to have to step up in order to beat this Flux, but we still have a way to go. Maybe things can change. The next image is from Nature Images, and here I asked for a mother robin bird feeding her its chicks, and you can see it's a beautiful image. And here I also gave the point to MidJourney. I think that the result of the image is very nice. It looks much more realistic, although I really like the concept that Flux generated, but the beaks of the birds don't really look that good. They look a bit like plastic, and MidJourney created a much more realistic image here. Here I asked for a close-up of a vibrant chameleon on a tropical leaf. Once again, both images gets the point. They both did a very nice job, and you can look at the details here. I simply admire. I am simply overwhelmed by how good the Flux model is. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a game changer. This model is open sourced. For now, it is not allowed to use it for commercial use, but the fact that it's open source means that people can take this model and create variations of it. And I'm telling you that the community is so pumped up about this model. You are going to see models based on Flux popping up every day. Quite amazing. I am really excited. So next image is of a bee on a fuzzy button, a bee on a sunflower picking out honey buds. And here MidJourney gets the point because of the details and the texture of the bee. Without a doubt, look at the small fur. I really like it. Once again, Flux did an amazing job, but if I have to pick the better image, it seems like MidJourney did a good job here. Here I asked for beetles, And I also asked for some golden hour warmth and concept of water. So here you can see on the Flux image the little droplets of water. It clearly shows very nice concept, very nice details, and both images got the point. Next image is of ants navigating on a bark and carrying a leaf. Here the point went to MidJourney. This literally looks like an image from National Geographic or something, and Flux here generated a more CGI concept image. Nevertheless, I really like the details. It missed some limbs here, it needs some extra blobs or things like that. But if you try to generate this image on an SDXL or something like that, you'll simply get a blob of creatures that are not really looking like ants. I really like the fact that Flux took care of the eyes, or the compound eyes, and here it's not that clear on MidJourney, but once again MidJourney did an excellent job here. The next one is an extreme close-up of a microscopic water bear. Now there is an actual animal called water bear, but I really like the fact that Flux here literally created a creature that looks like a small bear. Now here the point goes to Flux, and the main reason is that it nailed it when it comes to the prompt, especially when it comes to the pillars with visible cuticles and the hair shafts depicted as massive pillars. So here, although MidJourney created a very nice image, it didn't really nail it when it comes to the hair. The whole concept here is that it's a microscopic creature crawling inside someone's hair, and you can see what a beautiful tree-like hair it created with all the information and all the skin cells all over. Hands down, Flux is the winner here. Next image is of a surreal micro-world in a beating heart, bioluminescent eel-like creature with a translucent skin. So Flux once again created a very cute creature here. It looks very CGI, and without a doubt MidJourney gets the point here. Next image, we are going from creatures to some solid things or mechanics, and here we have a close-up on a mechanical clock internals, and here Flux got the point. The reason is that it nailed it once again when it comes to the prompt. I asked for ruby jewel bearings, so we got here some rubies, but if you look at the details, Flux generated unbelievable details. It also nailed it when it comes to the shallow depths of fields, which means that only the center of the image is in focus and all the rest is out of focus. So point to Flux. Once again, this is a very close battle. Moving on with the comparison. I really like this. Every image that I've seen generated by this model simply blew my mind. Look at this photo of iridescent soap bubbles on black background, and both models created beautiful rendering of bubbles. It's really nice how it nailed all the colors on the bubbles, but point to MidJourney. Although I would debate that Flux really did a good job and it might get the point here. So you decide, let me know in the comments what you think. Next image is an overhead shot of a modern backlit keyboard. I think that both models did an excellent job and they both got the point. I really like the fact that Flux went with a gaming keyboard, and I really like the composition, the colors. There are glitches here and there for both models, which is interesting to see that both models didn't nail it with the characters on the keyboard. So they both pretty much nailed the description on the prompt, so point to both. And we are almost done. Now the first thing that people want to understand with Flux is it able to render text? And here you have the answer without a doubt. It is rendering text with an unbelievable success. Almost every run with the text simply nailed it. Here is an example. This is a road sign on a gate to a deserted theme park, and the point here goes to Flux for several reasons. First of all, the composition looks real, unlike what MidJourney did. If you look at the rides on the back, I asked for a silhouette of rides, and it looks like whatever it is, it doesn't look like an actual ride. And here you can clearly see rise some kind of a mountain train or something like that, like some kind of a joyride. You can see a Ferris wheel or things like that. And the image is simply clearer. The skies are blue and transitioning into purple, which fits what you would expect from a prompt saying purple skies. And look at the sign. The sign in both models says do not enter, and it is beautifully composited into the image. I really like what Flux did here. The next one I really like, and the point here goes once again to both models, although once again I would argue that Flux might have nailed it with a simple reason that I asked for the text to be on the top and on the bottom. So the word, the secrets of life above and below the cameo of this tree. But I cannot disregard the fact that the texturing of MidJourney is unbelievable. Although if you look at the Flux generation, you can see the texturing here. And now I asked for a bit or rough or a bit used book, and the Flux generated a book that almost looks like new. And MidJourney did give it the used look and feel, so this is why it also got the point. But if I have to be picky and I have to choose one of them, I would probably go with what Flux did, because I can easily fix the concept of the book looking old just by emphasizing in the prompt that I want the covering of the book to look old. I really like the coloring of the wood that the book is on. Unbelievable results. And last but not least, this is a photo of a zombie with the words "Live like you will die tomorrow" on his shirt. Both models did an amazing job, and both models got their point, which brings us to a tie. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a tie between an open source model with the leading industry for some time now, MidJourney. I didn't even check it with DALL-E because it took it by far. The results were much better than DALL-E. The coherency of the prompts is much better than DALL-E, so I'm not even bothering with checking it. But the fact that the first version of this new model, which is a development model, meaning that it's not even yet fine-tuned to an optimization level that you would expect from a model that will run a year or so. If you remember how stable Diffusion XL was in the first time that it was announced and how it is today, you can generate unbelievable images with it. I simply can't wait to see what the community will generate with this Flux. Thank you to the previous Stability AI and now Black Labs crew that generated this unbelievable model. We love you for that, and I really hope that they will continue with the concept of the open source models. I really hope you like this video. If so, please like and subscribe, and see you on the next one. Bye.